Buckingham Palace is one of the most secure locations in the UK, along with 10 Downing Street and the House of Commons. You'd think there'd be no way of breaking into Buckingham Palace, right? Well, you'd be wrong. Hi, I'm Jack from Region Security Guarding's YouTube channel, where we make video about security and security guards. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at one of the most infamous security breaches that took place at Buckingham Palace from a security expert's perspective. If you like the video, don't forget to give us a like and to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest security guarding news. There have been more security breaches at Buckingham Palace than you would think, and they're still happening, as recent as December 2021. But the one we're looking at today occurred back in July 1982, and it's mind-boggling to think about. Michael Fagan managed to break into Buckingham Palace on July 9th, 1982, and made it all the way to the Queen's bedroom. Let's look at this from a security expert's perspective. What kind of risk does this pose? The first thing that comes to mind is an assassination attempt. This might sound like the plot to a movie, but this is a very serious threat. Members of the royal family and diplomats are high priority targets for this sort of thing, to sow political discourse, for financial gain, or if they just have a grievance with the individual. An assassination was attempted on the Queen as recently as December 2021, in a manner not so different from what Michael Fagan did. A 19-year-old scaled the gate at Windsor Castle on Christmas Day with a crossbow to assassinate the Queen. Luckily, the security response here was quick and effective, so no harm was done. It does make you think, however, did he learn something from the break-in attempt that Michael Fagan made? While Michael's intentions weren't serious or nefarious, this wouldn't have been known at the time, and it's not hard to make a link between breaking into Buckingham Palace and a potential act of terrorism. Whether that would be an attack on royal family members in residence at the time, the staff working there, or the building itself. Buckingham Palace could easily be a high priority target for potential terror attacks. So how did Michael do this? He scaled the 14-foot perimeter wall that was topped with spikes and barbed wire at the time. Then he climbed up a drain pipe and he entered the building. From a security perspective, 14-foot walls and barbed wire are going to be a strong deterrent for most criminals. Straight away, however, there is an issue here. There should have been roaming police officers with dogs patrolling the grounds should anyone try to attempt to enter unlawfully. Obviously, this wasn't a factor for Michael, as he met no resistance after he scaled the wall and he made his way into the property. It's clear to see there's a failure of organisation here within the team responsible for security. The roaming guards weren't present, or Michael managed to time this perfectly. A risk assessment would have been carried out on the grounds itself to establish which areas pose a breach risk and needed to have reinforced security measures. I imagine at the time, for security personnel who were conducting the assessment, they would have deemed it quite unlikely that someone would be able to scale the 14-foot walls and then climb up a drain pipe. We've all seen the guards at Buckingham Palace. While they might look like they're there for show, they're supposedly there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And during times of heightened security risks, they do in fact have loaded weapons. So it's difficult to see how he wasn't apprehended as soon as he went over the wall. Maybe the fact that it was at 7 AM influenced the guards on duty. Maybe this was a relative blind spot for the property. These things should have been identified and addressed within the risk assessment. After making his way up the drain pipe like some kind of video game character, Michael wandered the halls of the palace for 15 minutes before making his way to the Queen's bedroom. Okay, so where were the alarms? Where was the security presence? Why was this not picked up by CCTV? Alarm sensors were triggered by Michael. The police thought that this was a fault with the sensors themselves and they silenced the alarms. I'm not sure why this disturbance wasn't further investigated, as it's dangerous to presume that an alarm is faulty and not to take into consideration the security implications. Once again, this could be something that was a serious assassination attempt, a terrorist attack, and it's very irresponsible to assume that an alarm is faulty. Any issues with alarms and security lights should be identified and addressed during regular maintenance checks on the property to avoid events like this. Can you imagine if it was waved off as a faulty alarm and Michael had intended to assassinate the Queen? It would have only increased his chances of being successful. So Michael's been wandering around for 15 minutes now, and he opens the door to the Queen's bedroom. Okay, let's stop right there. Where are the armed police guard that should be outside the door? Where are the teams of security that should be roaming the property, you're asking? Well, the police officer on duty left his station before his replacement arrived, giving Michael the window of opportunity that he needed. This could have been prevented by levels of communication being improved between the guards. This could include where they should be stationed, how long their positions were for, and who should be relieving them. This situation could have been resolved if the officers on duty were 100% sure of their schedules. A report was published after the incident that was highly critical of the officers that were on duty, as well as a system of confused and divided command. This led to discussions in Parliament, with the Home Secretary, William Whitelaw, being the subject of criticism from both his party and the opposition. Even 40 years ago, people were aware of the sort of threat that this posed. Sir William Clarke stated in Parliament that it could be a catastrophic event if a terrorist had made it into the Queen's bedroom. If we look at the positives from this event, It's that there were large reforms about how the royal family were kept secure from these types of threats. Additional security measures had been implemented up to 18 months before the break-in, but this clearly wasn't enough. This trial by fire, however, should have been avoided. A risk assessment could have covered all of these issues. So what did Michael end up doing then? Well, he said he had a chat with the Queen. Later in 2012, he said that she left immediately in order to find security, which seems a lot more plausible. The craziest part about this for me is that it wasn't the first time he'd attempted something like this. The previous month, he said he entered the palace using the exact same method. A maid spotted him and informed security, but the security did not believe her story. This could have been prevented happening again if the security would have properly investigated the claim and further secured the areas, including the drainpipe. It might not seem plausible that someone would scale the wall, let alone climb up the drainpipe, but it should have been thoroughly investigated. So that's our breakdown of breaking into Buckingham Palace from a security expert's perspective. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, give us a like and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest security guarding news. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.